Test 1 2 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2. Let's get that off.
I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello. I think we're going to stay on schedule. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm very pleased to introduce our next speaker. I got to meet him through this conference, and we had some time to chat before today. And I was really pleased to hear about him, and I'll let him explain a little bit more about who he is, but I will read what little bit of bio I have. Alex Dumas is a keynote speaker, an executive coach, and an expert voice for a podcaster publication. He says he's renowned for his expertise in leadership, communication, and mindset. He has empowered hundreds of corporate executives and business owners to become win-win communicators since 2018. So I'm going to turn it over to Alex. So everybody help me give him a warm welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. Good morning. Can we give a quick hand for Catherine for the beautiful introduction? She doesn't know this. I'm taking her on the road with me, so anytime I get introduced, so she's going to be the one doing this. So, excuse me. I'm going to put this in. Really excited to be here with you all today. You having a good start to the day already? Yeah. Tornadoes, storms, and all, gorillas and everything. Perfect storm. All right. So as Catherine mentioned, my name is Alex Dumas. I'm affectionately known as the Win-Win Communicator, and I know in your programs it says it's a new way for leaders to listen. I wanted to play around and get creative, so I figured let's look at a new way for you as leaders to grow. Listening's gonna be a big part of that, so don't get in a like, oh my goodness, did the thing change? Like, it's the same. We're gonna have this fun journey together. And she mentioned since 2018, I've been working with world-class organizations and helping them to grow sustainably. The way they're going to do that is by cultivating an inclusive and thriving environment, an ecosystem where people love to work, clients love to do business with them. You're in an interesting space because you're volunteers. Your people don't necessarily need to show up if they don't have to. There's no consequence, right? There's nothing preventing them from saying, bye, see you later. So we're going to talk about some ways of how to maybe not have that happen, make that less prevalent, make the work they do, the work that you do with them, leading them, guiding them, supporting them, and serving them more enjoyable, more fun. Who's up for more fun? Okay, so the rest of y'all are just like, I fun, I can take it or leave it. Like, fun, yes, maybe no. Okay, but we're here to grow. Yes? Yes or yes? All right. Let me see. Oh, no. Hold on a second. Because I had some fun stats I wanted to run by y'all real quick. Apologies. In my handy-dandy stationery here, right? So these are some interesting facts that I learned or found out. So I want to know if these numbers are true. Accordingly, apparently, that 55% of nonprofits assess their volunteer impact. So 55 say that they have a good understanding, good handle of the impact that the volunteers are making, the difference they're making. Does your organization do that? Are you guys assessing? You can raise your hands like this. I can't. There we go. So you're assessing, you're getting up-to-date data, you're figuring out what's real, what's not, and where to improve. And for the rest of you, this is not a judgment. This is not a, oh my goodness, Alex is going to be slamming me. I don't know we're going to get quizzed today. Why'd you consider? What would it look like just having some more information, some more data available, right? Would it improve the experience? Would it improve your leadership style? Yes? No? Possibly. Here's another interesting thing, and maybe you guys can help me out with this. In what age demographic would you say most people are most likely to volunteer? Would it be like the 20 to 30s, 30 to 40, 40, 50, 50, 60? Like, what do you think?
65 and up.
65 and up.
Because they have more time.
That's a good point. They have more time, right?
We've got, we're either college students or retired.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have?
Teenagers that need hours for school, the data club, honor society, things like that.
Yeah, I'm about to be in that world. My daughter's 14, so she's gearing up for national honors.
Volunteer with me.
We're a few hours away, but we'll virtually. I'm coming from Johnson County, so that if nobody knows where that's at, that just in Raleigh. I'm 30 minutes outside of Raleigh. but I'm excited to be here with y'all today. So here's some other number. Well, just to give you to close that gap, right? They said that between the ages of 35 to 54, people are most likely to volunteer. But that's a great point about the retirees. They have the time, and the teenagers, they're looking for that. But interestingly enough, with the teens and under 24, 25, the Gen Z, Gen Alpha range, that demographic under 24, they account for 22.6% of all volunteers. So interesting. A lot of kids that need help or need hours or have the availability to do things, but yet we're not really leveraging them or including them. So there might be some opportunity there. And then this is an interesting one for me. So it says that volunteers spend about 50 hours per year donating their time. Does that sound about right on average, or a little less, a little more? More for you? How so?
They do 2 hours a week, every week or more.
2 hours a week every week. So do the math, 52 weeks in a year, maybe 50 if you take off holidays. 2 hours a week, so that's like 5,000. Am I doing the math right? Did I carry the one? No. I'm messing with you, but this is a big part of your lives, right? 50 hours, that's something to sneeze at, right? You can be doing anything else with your time. So, like Dave, his name David, right? He said before, I salute you for who you are, what you're doing, for volunteering, because you don't have to do that, and then choosing to be a leader of other people who are basically who don't have to do this, right? It's a big deal. It's important. So I just want to take that second to acknowledge you all for what you do and who you are. And today, our agenda is really simple. We're going to do 3 simple things. We're going to learn to connect, collaborate, and create, right? If you take nothing else from this time together, connection, collaboration, creation. If you have pens and papers, this is going to be a fun workshop time. This is a dialogue. It's not a monologue. Even though I got the proverbial invisible mic up here, you are all included in this. And what I like to sum it up with in the terms of how we connect and collaborate and create is building a bigger bubble, right? It's my little phrase, it's my go-to thing, but that's how I vision it. I vision like building, expanding, growing. And I would think for you as leaders, you're here in this room this morning because you want to grow, you want to expand, you want to demonstrate stronger leadership, you want to have more influence over, not over, but with the people you're supporting. So let's think about some barriers right now, some challenges that you're having in your organization, right? Is it marketing, right? Do people know who you are? Do people know what you do? Are other organizations partnering with you? Are they celebrating you? Are they shouting you out? And if they're not, then that's okay. This is now the time we're going to spend this hour thinking about, like, how do we do it? How can we create more of that? How can we create more of a buzz? Because some people might think like, oh, nonprofit and not volunteering, like that's not sexy, but like it's helpful, it's useful, it's human connections, how we all continue to grow and build with each other, right? Now we talked about this ugly word, retention. Is it true that good people are hard to find, or are they just hard to keep? Right? So how do we make what we do more fun, more enjoyable, and bubble time? Create a big vision that they can align themselves with, right? David did a great job of talking about the Queen of Cadway, right? One small chess player, and then representing the country, now going around the world, sharing, telling a story, having a movie made. Not saying you're all going to make movies about what you do, but think of it that way. Like, this is your life's movie. So how do I get people involved? How do I get people to spread the word about that? And then just some of the different expectations. Raise your hand if you've had to do more than you signed up for before. I see some laughing. I see some like, oh no. So tell me more about that. Like what happened there, right? You have one set of things that you are assigned to do, but yeah, you're got a few more things piled on, a few more duties. Like, what happens there? Don't be sure. This is a safe space.
There's a little line at the bottom that says other duties as assigned.
Other duties. So what falls in those other duties as assigned?
Everything.
Cleaning,
Clean the bathrooms.
clean bathrooms, yeah. Who likes cleaning bathrooms? What else?
Doing all the roles that you wanted volunteers to do, but maybe they didn't show up. Yeah.
Nobody's ever like not shown up before when you've run, right?
Oh.
So I'll tell you this quick story because I got to tell myself, it's full confessional, we're family right now, okay? Let's just say hypothetically, not saying this actually happened, but hypothetically, let's just say over the weekend, someone was scheduled to help out with his daughter's high school marching band. They had an expo, a showcase of sort, like a battle of the bands type of deal, right? So we were scheduled to be here at this time, help out to this time. Pretty simple, straightforward. A mass text went out. Said person maybe didn't read it, kind of half read it, didn't really, just. Saturday rolls around. We're supposed to be here at 4:15. It's 5:15 and somebody looks at their phone. Text goes like this: "Hey, are you still coming?" To what? Person goes through the phone, goes through messages, finds the emails. Okay, blew it. Sorry, I messed up. What can I do? We already found somebody. Don't worry about it. Just sit your butt home. Anybody ever get a text like that or messages like that before? Sent them, yeah. So it's not that I didn't want to help. It's not that I didn't care, but I didn't care enough to put it on my calendar. I didn't put enough attention to slow down and say, all right, this is something I committed to doing. I gave my word, right, through email and sign up on the Google Docs and all that. But I missed it. I blew it. And now I have the stigma as like the no-show guy, right? I saw the band coach later on that night. He's like, hey, weren't you supposed to chaperone? Like, awkward, right? So we can give a little grace to the volunteers. Sometimes things happen, but I get it. When there's no shows, when it's all on you, it sucks, right? I came from a world of the nonprofit space where I worked with special needs individuals for close to 10 years. So finding staff, finding people last minute, people calling out, hey, my goldfish, it's got this crazy cough. I don't know what, you're the things. Now, I'm getting paid for this. I don't know, who's here getting paid as a leader in their volunteer? All right, so a couple of you, all right. So this is my job, this is my full-time gig, right? And people are no showing. Their paycheck's getting affected by them showing up and they're still not doing it. So for you who have people who can come and go as they please, my heart goes out to you. And I know that this time together is going to be well spent because it will hopefully give you a new perspective, a new insight, and where am I coming from as a leader? Where am I showing up? How am I putting this person in the best position to excel? So this is a little bit of my visual of like the bubble. When I talk about building a bigger bubble, we're going to talk about these 4 elements of what we want when we look at growing, right? Gaining, retaining people, optimizing, and then win, because I love to win. I want to play to win. I want to get the thing, right? The trophy, the accolade, whatever it might be. And I wrapped that up all in this thing called win-win communication, because at the end of the day, if I express myself as a leader, if I get the point across to you and you actually perform the duties and maybe go above and beyond whether you had to or not, that's a win. Then people who we serve and volunteer, they get helped. That's winning. So I'm all about winning. I'm all about making sure that my team looks good, that the team gets the praise. And me as a leader, I just get to stand back, clap for them in the background, and then keep the mission rolling along. So any questions so far? Anything standing out to somebody? Yay, nay, hot? So we're going to talk about this beautiful thing called growing with the game. So David talked about this a lot and then I'm going to have you tap into this for a second. So when I work with companies, we're talking about acquiring new talent, and that's developing this compelling brand. Another word for that is story. So what is the story? What's the story behind what you do, and your organization? So now this is not going to be a rhetorical question. Someone tell me the story of your organization. Why do you do what you do? I'll start with Catherine. 'Cause she's
Should I volunteer?
Yeah.
So tell me the question.
So what does your volunteer association do? Like, what do you guys stand
I
for?
work at the Arboretum, and so my volunteers, our mission is to diversify the American landscape and connecting people with plants. So I'm looking for volunteers who have a lot of different talents, but really, I really want to know how they're connected to the organization, because they're going to be the most successful if they have like passion for the organization or interest in learning. That's really helpful. If they're just looking for something to put on their resume and they don't really know anything about plants, I mean, I can use them for something, but they're not going to be as good.
Right. Anybody else have people that you want who are passionate, who are excited, who actually see value in the mission of what you do?
We have, I work for a Durham Crisis Response Center for domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. So a lot of our volunteers are survivors who want to give back.
Yeah.
So they're a pretty passionate group, but they can tire out easily. So retention's hard, and making sure that they don't overdo it. You have to hold them back sometimes.
And what do you mean by overdo it?
Well, because they're normally, we're our survivors, so they can get easily triggered working with other survivors or counseling other people and giving back in that way. It can take an emotional toll.
Yeah.
No, we call that compassion fatigue.
Compassion fatigue,
Compassion
yes.
fatigue, yeah.
We do a workshop on that. Do you? Yeah. Sorry.
See,
We were connected.
We're all connected, and that's the point, right? See, you're already doing my points for me. Connected, right? So you open them up as you speak your story. Now someone's like, hey, we do that too. We can actually help you with that. One of the things I've learned as a leader is I can do anything, but I don't have to do everything. And it took a long time to figure out. Ooh, yeah. I felt the breath, right? Because it should be done this way. It's got to be this way. And nobody's helping me. I'll just go ahead and do it myself. And then, I'm tired. I'm wiped out. I'm exhausted. So who else has got a great story? Who else? Oh, yes.
So I work in supportive housing. So I work with above, but where I work specifically is in the supportive housing and permanent supportive. With our volunteers in general, we have to make sure they're compassionate because a lot of our people have been displaced for a long time. So we have to have volunteers that come in and have a love for it, because you never know who you're going to be impacted by. So we just have to make sure that the volunteers really have a passion for people and understanding.
Yeah, it's huge, and you're tapping on two books. One of my points here about how we screen, how we onboard, how we, I don't call it hiring, but I guess in this case, this would be the best word for it, hiring. So with your volunteers, right, what's your process of looking at, why are they here, right? What's their motivation? What's their inspiration, right? How do we gauge their compassion level? Do you have any specific, I don't want to say tests, but things that you're looking for, anything on either the eye test or just, yeah. So,
I have a leader right there, so I look back.
Okay.
So not in that area.
Okay.
Of course, I do the hosting piece of it.
Okay.
But the volunteers I have come in contact with, they have a genuine want to be there. Sometimes people just want to do it just because, and then you have people that you can see the passion when they're speaking with a tenant. It's just a different impact.
So what I'm hearing, I'll get to you in a second, what I'm hearing from you is that they're communicating from a stronger place, right? This is probably a terrible example, but if I'm passionate about cookies, and I'll bring up cookies every time I talk. Like, I love cookies, I gotta say off them. But if I'm like, this is a great meal, this is a great restaurant, this is a good thing, there's a different oomph in there versus, yeah, this place is great. You help out people who, right? And that's not to insult somebody, but people come with different backgrounds, social, economic things. But I would assume that what you're looking for are the people who are lit up by this, because at the end of the day, the door is that way, and they can go that way if they want to. They're choosing to be here with you, so they see something. There's something that connects with them, and they found a way for themselves to be a part of that picture.
I'm good. I think you asked a question, but it was rhetorical.
So this goes into like identifying like that ideal person. So think about your group right now. Who have been the people that have really stood out? Who have been, oh my goodness, if we had 10 of you, we would be straight, right? What were some of those characteristics? I've heard compassion already. I've heard, dang it. See, this is what happens with listening. Like I listen so much, I forget. Compassion, grace, just treating people with decency.
Reliable.
Ooh. Who here likes reliable people? What else?
Flexible.
Flexible. Ah.
I think for us, I've managed volunteers at food banks, so people that have either been in the food service industry or have experienced food insecurity at some point in their life. Their compassion and their story makes it more meaningful for some of the other volunteers too.
Yeah. No, you touched on something, wasn't it? Mary? Mary touched on something that Brenda and I were having an earlier conversation about, where she does her work with in the sheriff's office with people in the jails. And oftentimes that the people that we used to be, right, whether ex-felons, convicts, coming back to serve the people that are in that current situation. And yes, there's that threat or danger of like the compassion fatigue, the exhaustion of it. But at the end of the day, we can find a way to kind of tamper that, right? We have to keep a good eye on that, a gauge on that, like, hey, listen, you put in a lot of hours this week, or I see that you're getting a little emotional, I see that you're getting very invested and connected to this. And it's tough to pull people back, right? Because you need them, you want them, you're excited for that. And burning themselves out, burning yourself out, because they go, where's that responsibility you go to? Whose plate is that going to fall on, right? So how do we get these people? How do we recruit? Like, what are the ways that your volunteers come to you? How do they find out about your organization? And what's your name, by the way?
I'm Danielle.
Danielle,
At
yes,
the
sir.
Union County Library.
Okay.
So we're one of the few indoor volunteer opportunities, so that's a big push, obviously. And the schools are really good at pushing volunteering because most of them require a set amount of hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not an issue of getting volunteers, it's limiting it to the ideal ones that want to be there, that are going to be consistent. So we have a very intensive application process because we do get so many applicants. We want to make sure they're quality. And one of the questions is, why do you want to volunteer with us? So we use their answers from that to kind of figure out if they're the right fit. And if not, we actually pass a lot to Common Heart. We've gotten a lot recently. Because we do give them like a knowledge check because they do have to shelve materials. So if they're not understanding how that works, we do pass them along to other opportunities in the community if they select they're interested in them. And then for the teens, because that's the majority of our volunteers, they have to give us a recommendation letter from a teacher to like vouch for them. So we don't have too bad of issues with retention. I mean, you have one maybe. So.
Okay. No, thank you for sharing that. I love that. Like the little bit of that screening process, right? If they really want to do this, all right, this is the hoop to go to, right? This is
another one. Sorry.
No, sir.
It's the Teen Advisory Group, and they help plan all of our teen programs. They have a blog they manage, and they go through an interview process. So.
Excellent. Anybody else have any things they do for recruiting people or ways to get the word out? Is it online? Is it flyers, fairs? Like, what does that look like?
Social media.
Social media? What do you show on social media?
Well, we have somebody that runs all our stuff, so food pantry, so just she'll post what we need, and You know, it's really simple. You know, just come in and you're packing in groceries or weighing and sorting. And then Thanksgiving time, the biggest draw is Thanksgiving. We give out 1,500 meals. So a lot of the community members just really want to be part of that. And then they come in, they see what's going on, and then they stay.
Are you capturing any of that, like for those Thanksgiving things, right? Like, and I hate to say it like this, right? Because when you volunteer, you're giving out of the goodness of your own heart, but also there's this marketing component that's got to come with it.
We have photographers on site all the time, and you can capture pictures, videos.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I saw another hand in the back, or was I mistaken? No? Nah. Okay.
I was gonna say, like, volunteer platforms, like Base so quick, where you can go in and put in information and what the volunteer needs are, and then others that have that can look at them, search it out if they want to volunteer, then they can say, oh, I can do this, and then they fill out to do that.
Okay. Does everybody know about these resources already, or are there things? Because I want this to be like kind of a mini workshop of sorts. Like, hey, this is an idea I never thought of that, or I haven't used that before. Because what I want you walking out of here is more equipped to be like, hey, we can find like ideal people, tell our story in a compelling way, enroll them into this mission. Because when I work with entrepreneurs, corporate execs, right, a lot of them focus like on the sales part. Like, I got to get this, I got to get like the thing. It's like, but let's focus on enrollment. That's a deeper level. Right? When I'm enrolled in someone, I'm championing a cause. When I have a crusade behind me, now it's easier to talk about that. It doesn't become this thing of, hey, Danielle, can you help me with my thing and kind of help can you help me out here? It's like, no, we're out here I'm using her stuff right now. Like, hey, we're gonna provide 1,500 meals for people, right? 500 meals, whatever it is, and help the community out, right? And hopefully you're tugging on the right heartstrings. The right person is going to say, that's me. I want to be a part of that. I want to be enrolled in that. Because for everybody in here, somebody did that for you. You didn't just walk into like a volunteer and you're like, oh my goodness, how did I bump into this volunteer world? Like someone shared a story with you, or you came from a place similar to the people you're working with, and then you said, how can I help? How can I do more? And that's a beautiful thing. So we're talking about the marketing, we're talking about all that, talking about all this. So any ideas pop up right now as I was talking about how do we gain people, or how do we gain more attention?
So sometimes we use a plan if it's a targeted event. So there was a big soccer tournament for International Welcoming Week.
Yeah.
So I sat down and Googled every soccer club in the Triangle area. We composed an email and a flyer, and they ended up being a bulk of our volunteers and bringing soccer teams to play in the tournament. And they didn't do that last year. And, it was 8 employees trying to run a soccer tournament and bend tables and set up and break down. It's a learning curve.
Right.
So it was their second year. So I wasn't actually able to attend the event. So I asked when I got back, did you have enough volunteers? Because I wasn't really, it's a city-county program, so I wasn't really coordinating the volunteers, but just I was helping with the marketing and funneling people to the volunteer.
So that first year, knock it out of the park.
They had it in the flyer, like, hey, it's International Welcoming Week.
Right.
There's going to be a soccer tournament, and if you want to volunteer,
Yeah.
here's the link. And but this year we created some materials specifically to go, and we called and contacted, like, who do I talk to about, gaining volunteers from your organization. So there was a more targeted campaign this year.
No, that's awesome. And that's a great lesson to learn. Like, hey, this didn't work, and now let's clean it up. Let's systematize this, right? Because I'm a big person on systems. If you don't know has anybody ever heard the acronym for system before? All right, save yourself time, energy, money. Systems, they make a difference, trust me. So we're gonna look at this beautiful part of retaining people, because now this is where the rubber meets the road. I'm saying these words not because I want to get people, but it's just for what it is, right? We're enrolling more people, more volunteers into it now. How do we keep the good ones? How do we keep the ones that want to be here, not burn them out, not destroy them, not make them suffer? So creating positivity, that's number one. what would you say about your team culture right now? Would you say someone from the outside, right? And you don't have to throw people on their bus, but like if someone from the outside were to walk into your group, would they be like, wow, this feels like home, this feels right? Or would they be like, you know what, I'm gonna think about it, I'll get back to you, I'll call you. Like which one is yours more on the side of? I saw you bob your head a little bit.
I'm over at the Zellweger Aviation Museum, so just down the road a little bit from here. And a lot of our volunteers have come from the other volunteers. I'm lucky to have that kind of front of house perpetual feeding machine, right? Like, oh, why are you here? Former pilot, love to be around X. Oh, cool. I love blank. I was a mechanic and I want to, what do you guys do here? And so it's really their own best advocates. They'll bring me folks that are like kind of interested, and then the next day I see the application come in. So it's really, they're doing the bulk of my recruiting for me. And that I think just speaks to they're having a good time and so many other people are noticing.
Yeah. Is everybody else having that kind of experience? No? Oh wait, yes.
Oh, I would just say that certain areas that I place volunteers, that some of them have everywhere has a pretty good culture, but some are more conducive to having more people join. Like we have a nursery that prepares for our plant sales. That's a very social group that has lunch every day during the plant sale. They do a beginning and end season potluck, right? So there's a lot of community building opportunities, and I think in that regard, they want to bring friends and people they know into that environment.
You said the magic word, they want to.
Yeah.
Right? When we don't have to, when we get to make the choice, we get to take ownership of that. More fun. That's a possibility, of course. With your organizations, are you offering leadership or guidance or trainings, things like that? Like, how are we supporting the people that we're taking care of, and then also for yourselves?
We do a couple different things. One, I do a volunteer refresher class for our volunteers at the airport because things change. So if you've been a volunteer for 5 years, granted our building, the airport is changing, but policies change, procedures change, our apps change. And so I do a refresher for our volunteers, reminding them of kind of like in the 2-hour session, what they went through during their week of training. Yeah. And I remind them about things. Oh yeah, this is how you use Google Translate, or, it's all just refresher stuff. And so that's been actually very popular. I didn't think when I first offered it, anybody would want to attend, but because of the nature of our environment and things constantly changing, it filled up really quickly. So I'm doing another one this year. And then I would also say, in terms of offering continuing education opportunities, at the airport, it's such a huge campus and there's so much going on, we're able to offer some really interesting things that are exclusive to our volunteers, and that really helps keep them engaged. So we recently had a concourse extension open with 10 gates, and it's a new part of the building, and they were one of the first to see it in a behind the scenes tour. So offering things like that are exclusive to them, they love it. It makes them feel special. It gives them an advanced preview, so when the space opens, they can talk knowledgeably about it with passengers. And it's just something unique and different that not anyone can do. And so that has been, offering those types of opportunities has been really popular and I think successful in helping us retain volunteers.
Awesome, thank you for sharing. I saw some pens moving, some ideas sparking, some people like, hey, I can use that. That might be a good idea. Like,
well, sometimes we struggle too because our volunteers man a 24-hour crisis line a lot, and so they do that from home, so they don't get connected to the other volunteers. So that's like, I just opened a Discord page because I'm trying to get in with the young people.
Gonna get hips. Gonna get with the Instagrams.
Yeah, I grew up without the internet. I'm struggling.
I'm just messing with you. No.
Gen X. So I am, I was thinking of what I could do that's to create a community when volunteers work by themselves.
Yeah, it's the community is it's this bubble concept. When people feel included, right, they're more likely to stay because we are a tribal folk, right? If back in the days, if you were outside of this tribe, this could mean potential death. And I don't want to put the bad timing. That was not scheduled, but I'm saying we don't want to put the fear of people in there, but we also want to make sure that it's inclusive, that everybody is welcome. You're here to bring your special gifts, your special sauce to the table so that you can actually grow, you can actually expand, you can actually develop into more of who you're looking to be. All right, so open these communication channels. You talk about Discord, potentially doing some offsites, some trainings, things like that, that bring people in the room together and they feel, oh, I know her and I know him. Okay, I'm going to show up for this person now. I'm going to actually go above and beyond because, like, if I drop the ball, then this means he's got to carry it or she's got to do this, right? And we just got to look at how we're following up. Like, when you have people interested in volunteering and things happen, right? They drop off by the wayside. Do you have things in place that will help you follow up with them? Do you have systems of like, hey, you know what? We haven't contacted this person in 90 days. Where are they at? What's going on? They said they wanted to volunteer. They ghosted us. They never came back. So what happened? So maybe there's not enough time for that, or is there somebody assigned to do that? Like, what does your process look like of reaching back into this well? Because these people already kind of identified themselves as willing to help. Now, are you dropping the ball with not giving them a chance to help? So what does that look like? Anybody have any thoughts?
I'm happy to share again.
Yeah, share.
I've worked with a software called Logistics, and if you're looking for software or anything like that, I can't recommend this program enough. I've worked with them for about 12 years. They are first developed for hospital care and looking for those kind of more regular shift type folks. So they have that for those that applies to. And then they also started doing like self-scheduling and pickups. So I can see where people are at and if they're doing what are 2 minimum shifts a month. And then you can also set up automatic reports.
What?
Anything. So at the end of the month, it just comes to me and it says all the volunteers, how many shifts, how many hours. So I can follow back up with those folks who didn't make their commitment and say, what's going on? Is it just a tough month for you to come by? Or is this something that's maybe not the right time for you?
How much is it?
For 100 volunteers, it is like $35 a month.
There's also Track It Forward if you want to look at that one. That's what we use, and it's tiered, which I'm assuming yours is tiered as well.
Man, thank you for the resource. Anybody else have anything to share? Anything that you're using right now besides pen and paper, maybe a Google Sheet that might be helpful in streamlining the process? Yes.
I'm not using anything but pen and paper, but I would like to ask me to maybe contribute the system, the name of the system.
Yeah, it's called Logistics, VOLIG. I can't spell it, but it's
Logistics with a V.
Yeah, thank you, yeah. Logistics with a V.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, awesome.
The Track It Forward, do you know how much that is a month?
We pay for the 300 to 500 level right now, and it's $1,200 a year for that tier. I can't tell you the lower ones because it's been so long since
but at least gives me a order of magnitude.
No, we don't use it just for volunteers. We use it
for staff.
everything.
Gotcha. So next we're going to look at optimizing, right? Because systems, we want to make sure that you're doing more, less time, less energy, and being more efficient. So this is kind of more like on the corporate side, but I want you to think about your organization right now, right? Just the process. Are you continuously improving the workflow, right? Are we just continuing to refine it? Or are we kind of in a place of, this is how we've always done it, this is how we're always going to do it? Like, who's in that bucket of like, hey, this is just how it is. This is how we're always going to do it. This is no offense. No offense to pen and paper, but like, hey, we're doing this and we have it on Post-its, we have it on stickies, this is our system, or more of the automation style. And this is not to say one is right or wrong. It's really looking at what's most effective for you. What do you use that helps you, that serves you, right? And the data, this person signed up, they wanted to volunteer. It's been 60 days. Have they gotten a phone call? Has someone sent them a text or an email? Who's connecting with them? Who's responsible for that? Who's taking that on? And you as leaders, it may not have to be you. Is there someone you can delegate that to? Or if you do have the time, are you taking the time? Do you have the emotional bandwidth to be like, all right, time to smile and die a little bit, right? And are we encouraging innovation and creativity? So I'll tell you this quick story about a few years ago. What really catapulted me into speaking and got me into this space here was out of fear, because I just signed up for a group coaching program with 3 other people. This is in November 2021. We're set to start this work in January 2022. And I don't have the money to pay this coach. Has anybody ever jumped in and not really had a plan of how they were going to do something right? You just kind of overstep your bound and you're trying to figure it out on the way. You're trying to build a plane on the way down. So we come up with this plan that we're going to put together a one-day event. We're going to put 200 people in the room, and with that money, we can pay this coach and life will be good. And we start doing that. Selling some tickets, we're doing great. And then we're not doing so great. You go from like 29 tickets the first day, woohoo, on fire, to like 15 tickets, and to like 3 tickets, and like 1, and like none for a few days. And like I said, it's November, event in January, tick, 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 tick. Holidays, tick. Getting scared. But this is the power of collaboration. This is the power of being connected with people and being creative. Our coach that we were going to work with, he finds out what we're up to, what we're going to be doing. And he says, you know what? Y'all are going to raise the same amount of money that you would have paid me. But instead of paying me, you're going to donate it to charity. You're going to find several nonprofit organizations out in Arizona, because that's where the event was going to be. We're going to donate it to them. Now, it may not sound magical. Like, this isn't lunch money either. This is like several thousands of dollars. This guy's got wife, he's got kids, so this is not something to sneeze at. But I'll tell you what it did for me. It transformed me from a place of, hey, Danielle, I have this event. Can you please help me out, right? Bail me out, save my butt. Into, hey, Danielle, we're raising money for nonprofit organizations. We're actually going to be supporting parents of addicted loved ones. We're going to be supporting veterans who have animals. We're going to be supporting this food service organization, right? Oh. And then I'm like, that's right on cue. Like, I did turn to the Superman, because, but it's real, because when I couldn't see it, everything was about selfish. Everything was scarcity. Like, oh my God, I gotta do this. Like, I'm gonna fail, or we're not gonna get the money. What if we help people? Once I switched that to serving people, to bubble time, thinking beyond myself, boy, that conversation got different. People started hearing it, started seeing it. Hey, we're gonna share it on social media. Give me the link. I'm gonna pass to my community, my network. So instead of 200 people, we had 300 people in that room. And instead of just being a one-time event, this event has gone into the UK twice. It's gone to India. It's went back to Arizona in January of this year. Is going back next year. We raised over $100,000 this year to combat human trafficking, right? So the big picture, right? Small decision, small commitment. We found processes, we found ways of working together, we found ways of collaborating with other people. Can you help us here? What can you do? Can you spread the word? Can you make a flyer? Can you get us language? Can you get us a connection? Who do you know? And guess what? That's spread internationally, globally. So what you're doing right now is not small. It's not like, oh my goodness, I'm just in North Carolina, like I'm just in Charlotte, Mecklenburg, what can I do? Who knows? What can you do? Just a thought, sidebar. So back to performance optimization, right? Yeah, this is like the big business talk, like KPIs, key performance indicators. But really, it's just like, what's your standard of excellence? What's the thing that you need your volunteer to do? And are you communicating that effectively with them? Do they know, hey, when you show up, this is what we're looking for? And just for the record, I have volunteered at the high school, so I haven't blown every assignment. I just messed up that one. But when I have, they're like, hey, we need you to do this. Grab the coolers here, bring them out to the field for the team. We need you to hand it out to the marching band kids. We need you to clean up. I'm like, okay, Roger, got that, done. What else do you need me to do? So I'm like your ideal volunteer guy, because like I can't stay still, like just watch. Like, all right, these guys are picking up the trash. That's great. That's not my work to do. I'm in my thing. No, I'm part of the whole deal. So whatever it is, start to finish, I'm going to be there. So that's something to chew on for yourselves. Like, how am I putting my people in the best position to win? Am I doing that? Is it clear? Do they understand exactly what I'm looking for? Not an expectation, but what can I create as an agreement with them? Like, hey, if you do this is going to be a great time for so-and-so community or sector, right? So last part I want to talk about is win, because that's my favorite thing, to win. Like, who here likes to win? No, I'm going to talk to the crazy people, like the competitive, like psychos, like who likes win, right? Ugh, like win. So with your story, right, with your organization, we got to look at, how are we being unique? How are we being different? How are we standing out from the rest of the crowd? If we're at Thanksgiving, we're giving 500, 1,000, 1,500 dinners and meals. How are we capturing that? How are we making that a story for people to be like, wow, that's happening here? Oh, I didn't know that. Let me get involved. This is my church group. This is the local hospital. This is the local food pantry, right? We got to think about being trailblazers. And I get it. You're in a role like, oh my goodness, like I don't have time to think about being innovative. Well, create some time. Who are the people around you? What's available to you, right? This is a question I was asking myself during that time when we were creating this event. Like, what's available to me? Who can I ask for help? Oh, I have this whole Rolodex of people in Arizona. How about I just reach out to them? Oh, who's in a nearby state, right? It sounds simple, like, yeah, of course, wouldn't you do that? But not everybody thinks that way. Not everybody would think, hey, why don't I just go into this person's group and talk and share the message and do these things. It takes a little bit of being bold, of being a little bit crazy. I'm a lot of that, and I love that. And some of you are that too, because you're in this room. And it's not like a put down thing. It's like, no, this is not a normal thing of learning about how to make yourself better, learn how to improve, how to self-develop. Not everybody is up for that. It's available, right? You guys didn't have to come. You could have gone on YouTube, like, how do I figure out how to gain people and retain? But you made a choice. I want to develop. I want to grow. I want to expand my influence. So that is something to commend. And then we look at the sustainability piece, right? People come, people go. But what about the people who stay? Do they get better? Am I growing with them? Am I expanding with them? And if you're not, then that's something to look at, something to consider. How can I make this person, how can I best serve this person? How can I support them? Right? These are the questions. Like, me as a leader, I'm thinking that all the time. I run a community of coaches around the world. We're called the BIPOC Coach Collective. We're all mainly virtual. We've had a couple of in-person things, but the whole different personalities together to enroll people into, hey, can you run this call? Can you set up the Zoom link? Can you do this? Can you do this for me? And some people say yay, some people say nay. I'm fine with that. I'm not attached to that. But what I do see is this process outside of me, because at some point I won't be the vice president for this group anymore. At some point, I'm not going to be here anymore. But this movement will. At some point, you're going to move on from the places you volunteer from. So how are we setting up the next generation? How are we empowering them, equipping them? And think about what I call the reputation for excellence, right? Those are high standards. And it's not to beat people down, it's not to shame them, but it's like, hey, if you're coming here, if you're gonna play in this arena, then you gotta raise your game up too. And you as a leader, you get to start that off. You get to be the person who sets that tone, because people will only follow what they see. Is that fair? So, as we conclude, as we start to wrap up, think about gain and retain and optimize and win. This is my baby girl when she's about 2 years old, right? She's 14 now. And this is what she loved to do. Bubbles. When I think about building a bigger bubble, I didn't know she was setting me up for this many years ago. But this is what I see. When we grow, when we expand, when we win, it's fun. It's fun to be involved with something bigger than ourselves. It's fun to be a part and grow something that you may have thought was pretty impossible. I had an impossible dream a couple of years ago, put together an event. I don't know how to put events together. I don't know how to talk to hotel people. I don't know how to set up rooms and do all this and get lanyards. That's not my world. But we had a big enough dream. We had a big enough vision. If we do this, we can actually help such and such organization. I didn't know that all these spin-off things were going to be a result of that. I didn't plan for that. Now I can attach my name to that because I was an architect for that. I was at the ground floor. So think about the bubble that you're growing. Think about the people that you're working with. Think about the mission that you're leading or that you're a part of. Is it big enough that it scares you? Is it big enough that you wake up in the morning, you're excited, you go to sleep at night? Well, I can't wait to do this, right? The gratitude of it, the enthusiasm behind contributing. And you're all here because you're contributors. So for that, I have a special gift. So if you go to this QR code, it's going to take you to this website, talk.ac/Alex Dumas. You put in that code bonus. It's my gift to you. You're going to leave me some feedback there along with the feedback that the young ladies here are passing out. And this is going to come from a portion of this compilation book that I was a part of this year. It actually just got released at the start of this month. It's called The Journey of Riches, The Power of Self-Discovery. That code is going to take you to my audio version of my chapter, which is called Everybody Wins. Oh, I'm sorry. Expanding Global Influence Through Communication. So it's me doing it's basically an audio read, right, of that, and then some extra behind the scenes stuff to expand on, because it's my life story, but it's 5,000 words, so I needed to expand on that. And maybe there'll be some things in there that you figure, wow, this might help me become a better communicator. This might help me become a better collaborator. This might serve my mission. This might serve my purpose. Now it's my gift to y'all, and I'm excited for what's going to be done outside of these walls, right? Because you have a whole day here of being immersed. You have this nice little packed in bubble right now, and then life will happen. Calls will happen. Kids, spouse, whatever. So I want you to kind of take this energy. Hopefully there's something here you can apply that will help you grow, that will help you continue this path, because as you know, leadership's not just a one-time thing like, hey, I'm a leader and I figured it out. No, it's a continual, it's a process of improving constantly and never ending. ICAN, I can. That's my acronym I use for it. So this is me. If you have any questions, you have any comments, any things you want to leave, you connect me here on the website. I'm on LinkedIn, and that's my email address. I'm a real person. There's no bots that will like, hi, thank you for connecting with Alex. Like, I'm a real person. I'll respond back to you. If you have, I would say, if your organization look for someone to train or speak, this is what I love to do. This is my world. This is how I work with people, whether it's in teams or one-on-one. So all that said and done, I think we are, bam, champ, right on time. So I thank you all. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to having some lunch with y'all. Thank you.